Hello, everyone. Today, I have a story that is as heart-wrenching as it is shocking. It's about the complex dynamics of family relationships and the unexpected choices people make. This is, my mother called my son unmanly for kissing his boyfriend, so I kicked her out. Get ready for a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat as we dive into the intricacies of love, acceptance, and standing up for what is right. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this captivating story. My mom is a conservative woman. The apple fell far from the tree with me. My mom and I, male 40, already have a rocky relationship because of my religious beliefs. I'm agnostic. My mom is the type of person to try and trap you in her beliefs. Well, despite all that, she's divorcing my dad and going through the divorce right now, and she left the house. She came to my doorstep the other day while my son was at school, asking me to stay. I wanted to say no, but against my better judgment, I let her. I don't think I should have let her in the first place. She would only stay with me for the night to see her family in another state. My son is bi and has a boyfriend. His boyfriend usually comes over after school. They study here, and it simply didn't cross my mind that he'd be coming over. He ended up coming home with his boyfriend. He's aware of my mother's beliefs. I was stuck, trying to avoid an argument. I just said that they'd be studying together and left it at that. Well, I guess when he was leaving, they kissed, and my mom saw it, came to me fuming, asking if I knew about these sins going on under my roof. I reminded her that those aren't sins under this roof, and it's my house. We went back and forth. The argument consisted of her saying that this was way too far. He's only a teenager, and these phases shouldn't be supported, and me just saying to zip it and act like an adult about this and not traumatize a child or don't let the door hit you on the way out. It wasn't until she decided to go to my son impulsively in the middle of my argument, telling him he was unmanly and emasculating himself, acting like a woman. She said that he needs to stop trying to use women's people for themselves. No clue what that meant, and that he looks like a fool spreading the image that he's some feminine male. She tried saying he was going to the bad place, but I walked her out of his room. I told her to get her stuff and find a new place to stay. She argued that she was just saying it like it was. It's a sin. I said that if she focuses on sins, focus on hers with divorcing her husband, and we went back and forth for over 30 minutes of me trying to get her out of my house. Finally fed up, I grabbed her bags, put all her stuff in them, tossed them outside, and told her to get out. Or I'll get more extreme with this. I called my sister to come pick her up. She was waiting for 15 minutes, Mac's mom made it a point to tell the whole family, and they told me that doing that was an idiot move because they made her uncomfortable because we knew her beliefs. I don't think that's right at all. Their reasoning is a no in my opinion, but solely for what I did. Am I the idiot? I feel my only dumb move was letting her in, not the idiot. She claims to be a Christian, but skipped the verses about not judging or loving one another. Your responsibility was to your son, and you took the action necessary to protect him and make sure he knew that you would. Your mother sounds horribly toxic, unfortunately, like a great many people. I'm glad your son is raised by a parent like you and not her. This story has a hypocritical choosing beggar idiot, and it's not you. She disrespected your rules in your house, even while you were doing her a favor. She couldn't zip it for 24 hours. Even if she disapproved, she could have gone to her room and shut up until the morning, or left of her own accord. She chose to die on the hill. Think of it this way, at least now it'll be much easier to go no contact after this, and your extended family told on themselves. Grandma sucks. Get a rainbow flag for the front porch. Maybe it'll work like garlic on vampires, and she'll stay away. I'm 29 male, currently planning a wedding, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty details. For background, my parents got divorced when I was 5. The divorce happened after my dad fell in love with his current wife, my stepmom, Alice. They claimed they didn't cheat, but waited to be separated before anything physical happened. I don't know or need to know whether that's true. My dad and Alice got married, and we were living together by the time I was 7. They had my 2 siblings within the next 4 years. My parents had split custody, and Alice was 100% a mother figure to me. We're very close, and she's been there for me in every tough moment. She also helped pay for my college and grad school, which I greatly appreciate. My mom is a good mom, but we've never been as close as I am with my dad and Alice. Our personalities are very different. We're planning the first dances right now, and have my first dance with my fiancé, and she has hers picked out with her dad. Her parents are still married, so there's no drama there. But being so close to Alice, I really don't feel right excluding her and only dancing with my mom. So I asked her if she'd be comfortable doing one with me as well. She was overjoyed and cried with emotion. I'm really excited about it, but once my mom found out, she flipped out, said I'm replacing her as my dad had replaced her. I told her it's not a replacement, but she's been so supportive of me my entire life, and I consider her a true bonus mother, so I don't want to exclude her. but she doesn't want to accept that. So yesterday, my aunt, mom's sister, called me and ripped me a new one. I know it's a little controversial, but in my heart, it's what I really want to do. Am I the idiot for going through with this and having 2 mother-son dances? Personally, I've been to a few weddings with steps involved where there were 2 mother-son or father-daughter dances, and it seemed really sweet, not like overkill. I will do the shortened versions of the songs, so it won't be too long if that matters. Not the idiot. Alice has been in your life since you were 5. So basically, most major formative years and events, she's been extremely supportive, helped you get through school, and has been a true mother figure in your life, and you want to share this big event with both of your moms. If your mom doesn't want to share that time with Alice, no one can force her. But she also can't force you to snub a woman who's always been there for you from such a young age, because she's still hurt by something that happened decades ago. Yes, and I know it's not for me to judge people holding grudges, but OP said they divorced when he was 5. He's now 29, and his dad and Alice are still together. It might sting, but it's also reality. OP's mom must come to terms with the reality of the situation, and now her son has replaced her. This woman stepped into her life and took her child. Their relationship is arguably closer. Wouldn't you have a problem with that? OP, when you're saying your vows to your wife, staring into her eyes, and telling her how much she means to you, I want you to picture your future family. Now imagine your wife having intimacy with some other dude, and your wife unrepentantly says, well, screw you, you're not good enough, and she leaves. So all you have left in the world is your child. And now you're looking your mom in the eye and saying, yeah, of course, she's just better than you. Dude, just wow, your lack of empathy for your mom is staggering. My point is that don't be surprised if your mom doesn't attend the wedding. Don't be surprised if you never talk to your mom again. Dude, your mom's life was burned to the ground, and now you're hugging and dancing with the woman who lit the match in front of a crowd. Man, I just can't fathom hating my mom that much, but you do, you idiot. I agree. If Alice was a good person, she would manage some empathy for the woman who's OP's actual mom. She could say, honey, that is such an honor to be asked, but I don't want to hurt your mom. And as a mother myself, I know just how hurtful it would be. You should share that special mom dance with just her. OP, this woman broke your family and then warmed her way into your heart with money, and you're saying it puts her on the same level as your real mother? Wow. I, female 29, own my own apartment. It was inherited, and I know I'm extremely lucky. However, to be able to keep the apartment, I rent out a room. We share a kitchen, a living room, and a bathroom, and have separate bedrooms. When my current roommate, female 26, signed the contract, I reviewed it with her. Mostly standard stuff, but one section is added that no cats or babies. Children are allowed. Cats because I'm highly allergic, and children because I don't want to live with a child. Children visiting is fine. We have an agreement that any long-term visitors will need to be cleared by the other person. Breaking those rules will lead to eviction. We get along great. We're quite similar in our habits. She always pays her rent on time, and there is no food stealing. After about a year, she calls me into the bathroom one day. Standing in front of the mirror in a foreign-fitting stretchy dress, she looks at her stomach. She asks me if I think the dress still fits her. I could see her stomach was bigger, but I sometimes look like that in the evening, so I assumed she was bloated. I brush it off and say she looks fine. We should normalize being bloated at the end of the day. She gives me a weird look before she says she's not bloated. She's 3 months pregnant. Yep, that's how she decided to tell me. Anyway, I'm kind of taken aback as it came out of the blue. She's never mentioned it before or wanting a kid or a boyfriend. Found out the pregnancy was from a one-night stand. After probably looking like an idiot for a few seconds, I calmly congratulated her. Not with a lot of enthusiasm per se, as I really don't get excited about the idea of pregnancy and babies, and this really was a surprise. But I was polite enough after an awkward silence before I made up an excuse to have to go study. A few weeks go by and we kind of just go back to normal. While making dinner one evening, I ask her if she's found a new place to stay. She's really confused and asks what I mean. I reminded her of the contract she signed that says no babies can live here. I tell her that she can stay up until the baby comes, but it's wise to look for a new place soon. I don't know if she assumed she'd be able to continue to stay here with the baby, but I guess so. A few days later, I started getting texts from her friends calling me an idiot for kicking out a pregnant woman on the street. She has like 5 months to find a new place, and I charge a pretty average rent for the room, so it's not like she can't afford other places with roommates. I completely understand why I might seem like an idiot to some, but I genuinely think I'm in the right here. Why should I ignore my boundaries and comfort because my roommate decided to have a baby when she knew from the beginning it's a deal breaker to live here? Anyway, I guess I'm here to get a wider perspective on this. Not the idiot. It's your apartment and she signed a contract. Getting knocked up does not automatically qualify you for exceptions. You haven't kicked her out. You've told her she needs to find a new living situation. She has months to find a new place, and all those friends calling and texting you can offer up their home for her to stay. Did she think you would help raise this baby and just forget about the contract? When was she going to tell you? LOL. If she thinks she's going to do this all by herself, maybe she doesn't understand what's about to happen here, because it's hard for me to imagine how you wouldn't get pulled into helping all the time, or at the very least, being very inconvenienced and looking like a jerk when you tell you won't help out when she's exhausted and sleep deprived. So, I completely understand why you'd want to keep the boundary. Exactly. She did agree to the contract. No babies means no babies. You were never the kind of besties that you'd put up with someone else's baby, and you gave her 5 months' notice as well. Her financial situation is not yours to solve, and it's much kinder to be firm about this now than when she comes home from the hospital and finds her stuff on the curb. My wife and I have been married for a decade. She's a stay-at-home wife and we have no children. She has a daughter from a previous relationship, Sarah, and we've gotten along for the most part. Sarah's a junior in college pursuing a biology degree with additional courses required by medical schools. She's dreamed of being a doctor and helping people since her mom and I met. The problem is, she could be a better student. She's failed her biology 1 class and had to retake it to get a B. She really struggled in her next level biology class and finished with a C. She also got a C in her chemistry class. She got a B in calculus 1 and 2. She's making A's in her non-science and non-math classes, so they're padding her GPA, which is at a 3.2. This semester, I just learned that she'd make B's and C's in her science and math classes. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know any doctors, but I did online research. I discovered that medical schools require many things, but at the top of the list is a high GPA and top grades in science and math classes. Unfortunately, with Sarah's grades, she's not getting into any medical school. I even looked into nursing school to see if I could talk her into going that route, and all the ones I looked at require higher grades than she has. I talked with my wife about it, and she said that medical schools look at other things besides grades, and that's where Sarah excels. She has a solid volunteer resume, and she cares about people. I argue none of that mattered if her grades weren't good enough. She argues that Sarah will do great in the interviews. As I said, I have no experience with medical school, so I can't argue with her logic. Instead, I talked with Sarah when she came home for Thanksgiving and told her to look into another major because she might not be cut out to be a doctor. She ran to her mom, and we all got into a huge argument. I lost my temper and yelled that I'm not wasting any more money on something she'll fail in. I told them both I'm not paying for next semester's classes unless she changes her major to something more realistic. I feel bad, I do, but I'm not rich, and I don't have money to waste if she doesn't have a chance to get into medical school. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Medical schools are very competitive, and everyone has a minimum GPA requirement. If her GPA is below that, they'll automatically reject her without the chance of an interview. Sometimes being a good parent is putting a stop to the madness and saying no, even though it's hard. I would go and speak with some professors and guidance counselors about this and see what they say, then have her go with you before any decision is made about her future. Is she aware of the work that goes into being a doctor? What would it be like? Can she do some work at a hospital and see how hard it is? See if nursing is best for her? You are the idiot. It's your money, but to tell your stepdaughter out of nowhere that you cut the money isn't nice. Give her 1 semester to achieve better grades and prove herself, then she'd know what she had to do and what was on the line. I'm a successful engineer. Do you know what I had to calculus 1 and 3? Do you know what I never used since school? Any of my college classes. While a different career path, classes don't correlate to real-world experiences. Next time you go to your doctor's office, please ask your doctor about the last time they used calculus 1 or 2 in treating a patient. You are the idiot. It's not wasteful just because she doesn't have a 4.0. I've usually gotten along with all my son's teachers until now. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a single mom from my son's 3rd grade class and she was complaining about how hard it is to be a single mom. Then she said, "You single dads have it so much easier than single moms." The stuff she was complaining about seemed more about her being lazy, and it's not like her kid's dad isn't as involved as she is. I, on the other hand, am raising a preschooler and a young child solo. There's no child support, no one to take them off my hands, etc. I can't tell you how helpful it is when both have an after-school play date with other kids. Parents take little stuff like that for granted. In response, I told the single mom, it's not that I have it easier, it's that I have my act together. She was offended by my remark, but it's true. Yesterday, I was speaking to my son's teacher. She's someone I wouldn't get along with, so I don't try to deal with her unless I must deal with her. She asked me if I thought it was helpful to tell other parents that they were lazy. I asked her if she was helpful with her grammar and spelling errors in her class emails. She asked, "What errors?" I said, "I'll send her some examples because I wanted to be helpful." So I did, and she hasn't responded. Personally, she should be paying more attention to her emails and less to providing commentary on discussions that she wasn't a part of. Not the idiot. Parents can't run to their child's teacher because of another adult. Also, if she took that as you told her she's lazy, then that's on her. She obviously knows it's true and got offended by it. Also, no reason for a teacher to mingle with parental stuff that has nothing to do the child or education. I'd be petty too if she didn't have correct grammar teaching my child. Everyone's the idiot here. Look, I get it must be infuriating to have your parenting undermined by someone else, but take a breath and seek out the high road every so often. The mom was venting. Some people do a crappy job blowing off steam and bring other people down with them. Don't be like them. And while the teacher is way out of line to get involved with this scenario, your petty response was an unnecessary escalation. And there you have it, a journey through the emotional turmoil of family expectations and personal boundaries. If this story resonated with you or left you wanting more, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a difficult choice about family and personal values? Until next time, remember, standing up for yourself and your loved ones can sometimes be the hardest, yet most important. Welcome back to the channel, dear viewers. Tonight, we explore a tale of marital discord and familial expectations that has left one woman questioning everything. The story is titled, "My Husband Demanded I Become a Stay-at-Home Mom, and Now We're on the Brink of Divorce." Join me as we uncover the events that turned a joyous expectation of a new family member into a battleground of values and identity. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this heart-wrenching story. Okay, I already know it sounds bad, but I, 35 female, and my husband, Jeff, 37, are currently expecting a boy, his first child, my second. I got pregnant with my first when I was 18, and his dad was never in the picture. I work as a substance abuse counselor, and I love my job. However, this is where it gets tricky. My job offered me 8 weeks of PTO for when I have our son. I was so happy because I didn't want to return to work right away. Jeff and I got together when I turned 30, and he moved in with me because I own my house. We just got married this year and have talked about childcare multiple times, so he knows I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Well, I'm due in November, and he just brought this idea up. I was baffled because we've already talked about this, but I guess my mother-in-law and sister-in-law believe I should stay home with our son as a mother and a wife. I just don't understand where their opinions come in because I already know where they stand. Both stayed home with the kids. All 3 of them sat me down to have this talk, and they wanted me to focus on the kids, cleaning up the house, making dinner, and all of that. But I already work and do those things. Well, mother-in-law decided to throw it in my face that I never got to be a stay-at-home mom because I was a single mom going to school and working, which she's not wrong, but it made me angry that she brought it up. I told them that I work so hard to give my son a good life, and having another baby doesn't change my decision to keep doing something I love, and that if they all want someone to take care of the house and kids all day, Jeff should be a stay-at-home dad because I make more money than him, and it would make more sense for him to stay home instead of me. It turned horrible after that. I got yelled at by mother-in-law and sister-in-law that it's not his role as a father to do those things, and that he's the man of the house and should be the one making money. Jeff just stood there not saying anything, and I blew up and reminded all of them that it was my house, not his. I kicked mother-in-law and sister-in-law out, and Jeff was so mad at me that he went with them. He said he won't come back till I apologize to all 3 of them. So, am I the idiot for not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom? Nope, not the idiot. OP, you make more, it's your house, your in-laws are dinosaurs, and your husband just proved that he doesn't have your back. Bonus, here's your to-do list for tomorrow. 1. Change locks. Number 2, make an appointment to see a family lawyer about custody, parenting time, and child support in your jurisdiction. 3. Research them on the internet in the meantime. 4. Resolve that none of those 3 people gets back in the door unless they provide you with a fulsome, sincere apology. Sorry about the marriage, OP. I hope it was fun while it lasted. The thought of my husband bringing my sister-in-law and mother-in-law into my house to tell me what to do with my life, especially after discussing exactly what I want, makes my blood boil. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Please reevaluate your relationship with Jeff and whether or not his value systems are compatible with yours. Do you want your son to be taught this drivel about how he needs to grow up to be the man of the house? Do you want the rest of your life to be cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children for Jeff? Because presumably, he won't lift a finger to help you, because that's not his job. Because that's what's going to happen if you stay with this man and let him and his family treat you like this. Please be compassionate to yourself and your children and realize that you deserve far better. My vote is for the husband set up mother-in-law and sister-in-law to deliver this message. And he didn't do it with the goodness in his heart of having the baby have a stay-at-home mom. He did it so OP would take care of him like his mom used to. Flags everywhere. Update. It's currently 1:15 a.m. and Jeff just called me. He informed me that he cleared out our joint bank account and deposited it into his account. Bill money, savings for future trips, and grocery money that he's been thinking. And the only way he'll come home is if he can be responsible for all the finances. And I put his name on the house too. I said absolutely not and hung up. I've already reached out to my boss and I'll be working from home via virtual meetings. I'll be calling and talking to attorneys tomorrow morning to see what my options are. I didn't let Jeff know I'd be home, so I'm sure he'll try to stop me. Where I live, real estate developers have started snatching up family homes, bulldozing them, and building enormous $2 million houses on plots of land. Unfortunately, the houses also stick out horribly in terms of aesthetics. Think single-level brick homes with three-level gigantic white and black boxes in the middle. My home's been in the family for several generations. We've always been known for having a large, beautiful garden. We invited over kids to help with gardening. We gave away so many veggies. We'd hold parties, etc. It's been a neighborhood treasure for years. Until developers snatched up the lot next door, bulldozed it, and erected an enormous house that blocked the light to most of the garden. Many of us tried to fight it with the city, but everything was denied. It was heartbreaking. Our neighborhood has been changed forever. This was a link to my family, and I almost have had to go through a grieving process for it. The new owners moved in and were not welcomed warmly by the people in the neighborhood. I avoided them for as long as possible. Other than politely waving or nodding, it was a young couple in their early 20s. We finally came face to face, and the woman asked if we could chat. She said she felt like maybe they'd done something wrong when they moved in, or if they weren't pulling in their trash bins or something, being too loud, etc., because people haven't been friendly. The guy says that he's surprised, considering it felt like a nice and somewhat affluent neighborhood. And given the price, he was expecting friendly neighbors. I asked if they had done any research about the area. They said that they moved from California, so no. I said that maybe that was their mistake. They said they didn't know what I meant, so I asked if they've ever looked in our backyard. They said yes, and they said they thought the garden was cute. I said yes. The garden that now has about half the sunlight than before your house was built was a neighborhood treasure. So the guy said, well, it's not our fault you built the garden there, is it? I said, well, you guys got what you paid for, $2 million for a house that everyone in the neighborhood hates. So I said I hoped it was worth it and wished them a nice day. When I told another neighbor about the exchange, she told me that she felt bad for them moving without knowing what they were getting into. Am I the idiot for telling them they got what they paid for? So you unloaded your pent-up anger at the developers, on the couple, who unwittingly bought the house. You are the idiot, OP. That couple did nothing wrong. They bought a house on the market. Now, if they had been the ones to buy the house or land from the previous owner, bulldoze it down, and then build their $1 million mansion, you might have a leg to stand on. But from what you say, the neighborhood is taking out their frustration and anger on an innocent couple. Yeah, but I do get why he'd be angry if instead of, oh, we're sorry, we didn't know about your garden, they decided to go with, it's not our fault you built your garden there. When it comes to this kind of mega home, I agree, but I also think places need to change. This is why most grad students live in someone's attic. Many old communities completely boycott any affordable housing, even as the population doubles or more. Mega homes for the rich don't help either, but I dislike the people who want their neighborhoods to stay the same forever, just as much. OP, they bought a house. Did you research the neighborhood? Is your garden a big thing so well known it's in the papers that those people could know about it without talking with the neighbors before moving in? And specific talks. And even then, they didn't design the house, just bought it. It's not their fault, and you are being angry at them as if it is. Also, if the size of your neighbor's house affects how you act, you might want to seek therapy. You take the cake today due to treating people like crap because they apparently stole your sunlight, and you're big mad about it. These people likely had no idea about your garden or what was there before the house they bought was there. It's not their fault that the house was built there. You want to be mad? Be mad at the real estate developers. That's the actual bad guy here, not the people who bought the house. I can't believe this became a conflict. With the weather being so nice, I decided it'd be nice to have a fun little dinner party. So, I invited everyone and their SOs if they had them. One of the SOs is Rick. I've always gotten along with him just fine, but he's one of those guys who tries to make the most bizarre things into his entire personality. The biggest one is that he's a huge garlic guy. He's one of those guys who makes a huge deal out of how he uses 400 cloves of garlic in a dish. I don't eat garlic. I have GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, from purging. And unfortunately, my biggest triggers are alcohol and garlic. I'm okay with cooked onions. For some reason, in the past 2 years, my sensitivity to garlic has actually gotten worse. So, I didn't use garlic in the dishes I made. Not a huge deal, right? I have a pantry full of other spices, and I'm not shy about using them. We were eating and I got some compliments on the food. It wasn't anything special, but Rick said he liked it, but felt the food was missing something, and asked how much garlic I used. I said I don't eat garlic, so I didn't include it. He scoffed and was like, how can you not use the most basic ingredients in most meals? That's why it tastes like this. He made a big exaggerated face and put the food down. He then asked why I'd have a dinner party if I had such a limited palate, and that he wouldn't have people over for Thanksgiving dinner if he was a vegetarian. I said, I have GERD, dude. Garlic triggers it. He pointed out that I was drinking alcohol. I said yes, I was in fact drinking one hard seltzer that I had flattened, and that these are the only alcoholic beverages I can drink, and that I also had one just in case my body changes its mind. He and I went back and forth until his girlfriend, the one who actually is my friend, told him to chill. Rick got louder and was laughing like, come on guys, am I really the idiot here? With his hands out. One of the other guys said it was a little weird, but not a big deal. Anyway, it's a month later, and Rick still won't drop it. Instead, he insists that it was an idiot and selfish hosting move to drink the alcohol, but not cook with the garlic, because garlic goes in everything. So, now I'm curious, and thought this would be a fun low-stakes question for you all. Am I the idiot? Why are you friends with this monumental idiot anyway? Someone whose entire personality seems to be about one tiny thing? Who thinks he's the food police? I'm a very keen cook, and garlic is inappropriate for many, many, many dishes. Not the idiot, of course. I'm also curious, doesn't he stink 24/7? OP should still invite him, but serve him garlic. Only garlic, several whole roasted garlic bulbs, and nothing else. Is that enough garlic for you now, Rick? And make sure you get a vampire costume for Halloween, for his benefit. Rick needs to get his garlic addiction under control. It's affecting his relationships at this point. If my ex so acted that way, not simply expressing a preference for garlic, but telling the host it was rude to omit it, I would be mortified. No joke. Possible grounds for breaking up, because who behaves that way? Not the idiot, open and shut case. My best friend and I have known each other since we were like 3, and we've always been super close. She's the first of us to get married, and I'm so happy for her, and was happy to be asked to be her maid of honor. However, she and I were not expecting her fiancé to consider my ex a close friend now that he's his groomsman. We knew that they kept in touch after I broke up with him, but we had no idea they were friends. What's even worse is that my ex is using this as a way to try and force his way back into my life. She warned me when she found out, and I agreed to one night out with all 6 of us, my best friend, her fiancé, and their bridesmaids and groomsmen. I was paired with her fiancé's brother, the best man, and my ex with her sister, a bridesmaid, but he would not stick around her sister at all. He kept coming over to me. He tried to get me to take him back, and he joked that we should just go and hook up. He touched me a few times, and I had to brush him off. He was just intense. Our breakup happened a little over 2 years ago. We worked together for 5 years, lived together, had talked about marriage and babies, and then I heard him mock me to his friends and say disgusting stuff like I was so boring as a person, but at least my body was good so he could drown out the rest of me and just focus on my looks. He mocked me for being sensitive. He also mocked that I had low self-esteem from my childhood relating to my family and told them details only he and my best friend knew. My best friend asked her fiancé if there wasn't anyone else. He told her that the two of them got so much closer in the last 2 years and that he truly considers him his closest friend now and so on. He said we should be able to deal with being around each other for a few hours. She asked if there was anything she could do to make it easier, but I can't be around him like that. I can't even have him following me around and trying to win me back. He humiliated me. He said things that I never would have expected out of him. He got 5 years of my life and he treated me like that. We agreed that I should just pull out of the wedding. My best friend is so upset and she's upset with her fiancé. He's now angry with me and he told me I should have sucked it up for my best friend and followed through on being her maid of honor because it meant so much to her. He told me I was being petty and I should be able to ignore my ex for the sake of my best friend. I do feel bad. I hate doing this, but I know I'd feel trapped in a nightmare if I had to deal with my ex throughout the wedding. There's no doubt in my mind that I would be miserable. She knows this too, which is why we agreed, but I hate doing this to her. I always dreamed of being her wedding. And now, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The groom prioritizes his friend over his bride's happiness and he's trying to get you to suck it up. He could have chatted with your ex and told him. His behavior was unacceptable, and if he tried to get close to you, he'd be dropped. But he preferred pressuring you so he could have what he wanted. I'd tell your friend that her fiancé is trying to pressure you, as that would be a red flag to me. Not wanting to be touched and harassed by a creepy ex-boyfriend isn't being petty. What the heck is wrong with this guy? Also, you did ignore your ex, but it didn't stop him from harassing and touching you against your will. And ignoring your no. What else was he expecting you to do? Also, does he want drama at his wedding? I hope your friend realizes who she's about to marry. Yeah, I think you need to step away entirely. And if the ex is continuing to harass you, look into a restraining order. Good luck to the bride. Her fiancé sounds like a real charmer too, being that he knows the history and still allows this. I, 20 female, am currently 30 weeks along. I live with my parents and pay rent, utilities, and other essentials. Ever since I found out I'm pregnant, there's been a lot of tension in the house. And it feels like my parents' marriage is getting worse because of me. When I first found out I was pregnant, my dad flipped his lid because I wasn't married and because I didn't know who the father was. My mom defended me for most of his crap throughout my pregnancy and was very supportive but very disappointed in my dad for his behavior, and it's been ruining their marriage. Last week, my dad demanded I move out, and I refused since I paid rent and mom doesn't want me to move out. As usual, mom defended me, but they had a big fight. I'm feeling like an idiot since I'm ruining my parents' marriage over this when I could move out, but I don't know where to go and need my mom's support. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You're an adult. If you want to have a baby, that's fine, but there's no reason to expect anyone else to support your child. Babies are loud and disruptive. Your father's done raising his kids, so why do you expect him to start over to raise yours? Not the idiot. You are not ruining your parents' marriage. Your dad is. Your mom is finding out your dad's beliefs around unwed or single mothers. You getting pregnant and having a child has not ruined your parents' marriage. However, your dad's behavior is. I'm really glad your mom is being so supportive, and I hope this situation resolves in whatever way it needs to. You have to prioritize your well-being and the well-being of the baby. Your dad's behavior affects your emotional well-being and your unborn babies. However, he feels it's not important as you and this child, but I'm pretty sure you have some clue about the baby's dad. You might have to pay for some paternity tests, but you need to find out who it is and make them contribute. Don't let him off the hook. I don't know if you want to know who the father is, but your child has the right to know and to be financially supported. And that, dear viewers, is how a deeply rooted disagreement led to a rift in what seemed like a stable marriage. If you are captivated by this tale and want to hear more stories of family conflicts and unexpected revelations, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and similar experiences in the comments below. Have you ever faced a situation where family expectations clashed with your personal values? Until next time, remember, staying true to yourself is crucial. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a truly heart-wrenching yet uplifting story to share with you. Imagine being abandoned with a baby and no money, only to have a chance encounter with a stranger turn your life around. This is the story of, my husband left me with a baby and no money, then I met a stranger who changed everything. Let's dive right in and see how one woman's life was transformed in the most unexpected way. Dorothy stood in the kitchen and thoughtfully washed the kettle for about 10 minutes, thinking about when all this would end and how she would get out of this situation. She felt that she no longer believed in her marriage, and it depressed her more and more, and how well it had all started. Nathan was courting her romantically and charmingly. He serenaded her under the windows, gave her flowers every day, and always different ones, until he had realized that she loved orchids most of all, and after that he gave them only. And Dorothy thought then that it would be like that forever, maybe without orchids, but certainly with Nathan next to her. Soon Nathan asked Dorothy to be his wife, and she immediately agreed. She seemed to glow with happiness at the wedding, and Nathan kept whispering his vows of eternal love to her. They lived in Nathan's apartment that his parents had presented to him a few years ago. The apartment was next to the office where Dorothy and her college friend Sharon had been working as designers for 3 years. True, Sharon soon got married too, and moved in with her husband to a neighboring city. Dorothy liked the apartment. The only thing that annoyed her was that one of the 2 rooms was filled with musical instruments. Nathan was a musician and a bandleader, but they had no success, and their performances brought no money. Everything Nathan could earn outside musical activities was usually spent on rehearsals and transportation of equipment. At first Dorothy's domestic problems did not bother her, as she was working and had enough money, but then, giving birth to a child, Dorothy immersed herself in home life and felt how much she missed Nathan's help. He was always away at rehearsals, dealing with some band issues and coming home late, almost always drunk. Dorothy longed to feed him dinner and just talk, but she did not want to be a capricious and grumpy wife, and she said nothing. One day, after her son was born, she asked Nathan to go for a walk with little Spencer, as she wanted to sleep for at least half an hour and get some rest. But her husband just looked at her in surprise and irritably said, "These are your responsibilities, Dorothy. I can't do all this nonsense. Do you want me to become a well-known musician or not?" And then Dorothy clearly understood that nothing was going to change, and it wasn't because he hadn't given her orchids for a long time. Nathan had changed a lot, and he didn't care about her and Spencer. Dorothy was ready for one last conversation with her husband. But disaster struck. Her mother died of an illness. After the funeral, Dorothy fell into a stupor and depression. Nathan started bringing orchids again, and Dorothy even thought that in this way he was trying to support her, but as it turned out, it was something else entirely. Soon, Nathan started talking about selling her mother's apartment. He offered to use the proceeds to buy a minibus, which he planned to use to go to rehearsals and tours. Dorothy almost laughed, because her husband had never been away for performances beyond the local clubs, but she didn't argue, and they bought the car and put the rest of the money in the bank. But of course, everything went on as before. Spencer started teething, and Dorothy could not sleep at night, listening to the moans of her baby, and Nathan was often absent at such nights. But his band performances did not add money to the house, and they lived, in fact, only on the children's allowance. One day the telephone rang, and Dorothy was overjoyed to hear the cheerful voice of her friend. Sharon reported that she and her husband would soon be going on vacation abroad, and she tearfully asked Dorothy to stay in their home and look after Rocky the spaniel. Dorothy was happy, because she had longed for a change of scenery, at least for a while. She shared her worries with Sharon, and her friend said firmly, "That's it, it's settled. Come to us with Spencer, I'll be back from vacation, we'll figure it out. Maybe you do not have to go back to your husband. Stay here, find a job and you can live with us while you need. The house is big." And Dorothy made up her mind. She hastily stuffed some of her things and Spencer's clothes into the suitcase, took her documents and driver's license. She left Nathan a note explaining that she was leaving for good and would file for divorce. While Dorothy was putting the baby seat in the car, she realized that it was getting dark and cold outside. She drove to a gas station on the outskirts of the city, filled a full tank, but a few dozens of kilometers away, the car stalled. Realizing they would not make it to the nearest settlement on foot, Dorothy tried to call, but as luck would have it, there was no connection in the area. Then she tried to give signs to passing cars honking and flashing their lights, but no one stopped. 2 hours passed. It was deep into the night and the highway was completely deserted. But then the lights of a car appeared in the distance. Dorothy ran out onto the road in despair and waved her hands. The jeep stopped next to the woman and a man got out. He tried to find out what was wrong, but Dorothy was so cold and tired that she could hardly speak. From her confused story, he only understood that they were going to the same city, that her car had broken down for some reason, and that the baby was freezing in it. "Okay, let's do this. Get your things and the baby and his car seat out of the car and come over to my car. Don't worry, we are in the same direction anyways. I'll take you where you need to be, and tomorrow you can call a tow truck, which will take your car to the station." Dorothy immediately agreed. The prospect of freezing in the car together with the baby really frightened her. Already in the car, the man introduced himself as Gregory. He told her that he was going to his parents, who lived in the same city as her friend. His father had opened a new branch in that city while he was in charge of the old one. The man smiled and added good-naturedly that his parents would probably be the best people on earth if they didn't torture him with their desire to marry him quickly. "Better not rush into it," Dorothy blurted out. Gregory was surprised and cautiously asked, "Excuse me, are you speaking from your own experience?" And Dorothy suddenly felt completely unashamed to tell the stranger about everything, and that her dreams of family happiness had crashed on daily life, and that she had to flee from her husband from her hometown, and that everything began with a great love. Gregory listened to her thoughtfully, and for a while they drove in silence. "Dorothy, can you help me?" he suddenly asked. "You saved us today. I owe you one. Tell me what can I help you with, and I'll see what I can do." And Gregory told Dorothy that once upon a time he had had a girlfriend, but she had left him for a richer businessman from Greece. Then his parents decided to introduce him to a woman who worked at his father's company. She, in their opinion, was pretty and nice, with good moral principles. But Gregory flatly refused, and now they remind him again and again of the need to get married. And so Gregory had a brilliant, in his opinion, plan, in order to make them at least temporarily leave him alone. Gregory suggested Dorothy to go together to his parents and play the role of his bride in front of them. Dorothy at first wanted to give 4, but remembered she owed him a debt of gratitude. So she just smiled and agreed. "All right, Gregory, but only tomorrow, because then my friend, whom I am driving to, is leaving for vacation, and I will have no one to leave my baby with, and I don't think your parents would like a bride with a baby from another man." I'm sure my parents wouldn't be upset if the bride had a child, but in any case, thank you for agreeing. Then I invite you to dinner at our place tomorrow evening. When Gregory picked up Dorothy the next evening, she met him in readiness. He looked at her admiringly and assured her that her parents were definitely like her looks and kind disposition. Dorothy laughed and promised to talk less so as not to give herself away. When Gregory introduced Dorothy to his parents, he was speechless at how warmly they greeted her. It turned out that Dorothy was the same woman who worked in his father's company and whom the parents knew well and predicted for their son as a bride. When Dorothy returned home, Sharon questioned her about everything, and learning that Gregory was the son of their common boss, her friend gave free rein to her fantasies and told Dorothy how things would go on if, of course, she would not hide her feelings. Well, I see that you like Gregory and managed to notice, though he has been with us for a short time, that he likes you too. Now stop living in the past or punishing yourself for being wrong about Nathan. You're staying with us, getting a divorce and coming to work for my boss, who may soon become your father-in-law. We'll put Spencer in kindergarten here and everything will be fine. We're all going to bed now. We have an early flight tomorrow, but I will constantly be in touch to be updated on how your relationship is progressing, said Sharon and winked conspiratorially to her friend. And events did develop rapidly, and almost as Sharon predicted. Gregory visited Dorothy every day, and one day finally confessed his feelings to her. And when Dorothy also confessed her feelings in return, Gregory put her and her son in a car and took them to his parents. Dorothy was anxious that they would take the fact that she was not alone and with a child. But when Gregory's mother came up to them, Dorothy was relieved of heart. Well, hello, little one. I'm your new grandmother, she said amiably and held out her arms to Spencer. Dorothy couldn't believe what was happening. She thought this only happened in the movies, but it wasn't a movie. It was her new happy life, in which there was no place for Nathan. By the way, a year later, she somehow saw a report about her ex-husband. But not about the famous musician, but about the drunken hooligan who burst onto the stage and disrupted the concert of a famous band. Apparently this was the popularity he had dreamed of, but he made his own choice. If you enjoyed this story and felt as moved by it as I did, please give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories. Hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Thanks for watching, and welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the most jaw-dropping tales of family drama and relationship twists. Today, I have a story that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Imagine planning a peaceful family vacation, only to have it almost derailed by the most unexpected and shocking revelation. Buckle up, as I take you through this wild journey titled, "My Mother-in-Law Burned My Passport to Ruin Our Vacation, Then I Found Out She Has Feelings for Me." Our story begins with a man named Liam, who has been enduring the relentless antics of his mother-in-law, Isabella. Little did he know, this family trip would uncover secrets that would change everything. My name's Liam and I'm a 35-year-old man. My mother-in-law, for whatever reason, didn't like me for a very long time. You could argue that it was because I was stealing her precious princess away from her, but she doesn't act that way with her other children and her other daughter-in-laws, sister-in-laws. I always suspected that she had a personal problem with me, which honestly to this day hasn't properly been confirmed with her. But I'm glad that I at the very least got some revenge for her stupid antics. Let me tell you the story. From the very beginning, Isabella, my mother-in-law, and I clashed like oil and water, like fire and ice, like pineapple on pizza. Don't argue with me. She had a knack for getting under my skin with her passive-aggressive comments and disapproving glances. Whether it was about my choice of career or my lack of culinary skills, Isabella never hesitated to let her opinion be known. This one time, she fought with me because of a rug. A stupid rug. Can you imagine? This is how the argument went. "Liam, I can't believe you didn't get the rug I wanted for the living room. It's like you never listened to me." "Isabella, this is my house and I should have the freedom to choose the furnishings. The rug I bought is perfectly fine." "Perfectly fine?" "It's hideous. You have no taste." This is just another example of your incompetence. Enough, Isabella. I'm tired of you constantly belittling me and listing all my shortcomings. I work hard to provide for this family and I deserve some respect. Respect? Respect is earned, Liam, and you've done nothing to earn it. You're just so useless in so many ways. I can't have this conversation right now. Our conversations would normally go like this, with Isabella fighting me for something stupid and me leaving without engaging any further. That woman was sick. She definitely enjoyed seeing me angry, so I did my best to not give that to her. I genuinely believed that she had some sort of mental problem because the way she behaved was crazy. I often turned to my wife, Harper, seeking solace and understanding. Harper and I were a team facing the world together, but when it came to her mother, she often felt caught in the middle, torn between her loyalty to me and the ties of blood. She would listen to my grievances and offer comforting words, but deep down, we both knew that Isabella's ways were detrimental. One day, Harper approached me and said, "Liam, I have some exciting news. I've been thinking about your situation with Mom and I believe I found a way to improve your relationship dynamic with her." "Really?" I wasn't expecting any surprises. "What do you have in mind?" "I planned a family vacation for all of us. I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to spend time together in a fun and lively environment, away from the daily stress and tension, and maybe you two could work on your relationship." "Harper, I appreciate your efforts, but do you think a vacation can really fix things? My relationship with Isabella is so strained. She hates me." "She doesn't hate you, babe, but I understand your concerns. It's a chance for us to reconnect, create positive memories and find some common ground. Plus, Mom seemed genuinely excited about the idea when I mentioned it to her." "Isabella was actually enthusiastic about a family vacation? That's unexpected." "Yes, I was just as surprised as you are. Maybe this is an opportunity for a fresh start. We can focus on enjoying ourselves and work on building a bond between you two. I guess it's worth a try. If it means a chance to improve our relationship, then I'm willing to give it a shot." "That's the spirit, Liam. I believe this vacation can bring us closer together. We'll make it a memorable experience for everyone." I was a little bit giddy. I enjoyed vacations, but I was also obviously worried that things wouldn't even work out because Isabella was just hellbent on making me angry. But I did say that I would try, so that's what I had to do. Slowly but surely, however, my hesitation grew into full-blown doubts. She was enthusiastic, making suggestions and even offering to help with the planning. This sudden change of heart set off alarm bells in my head. Isabella had never shown such eagerness before, and it made me suspicious. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something fishy was going on. Nonetheless, I kept my suspicions to myself. If I'm being honest, I think that I felt quite guilty for holding on to these suspicions. I didn't want to bring these negative vibes on our trip, and I didn't want Harper to be angry with me for being suspicious. So I kept it to myself. But surely enough, call it intuition or good luck, I found out the truth and I was right. But let me not get ahead of myself. Amidst the uncertainty, Harper and I prepared for the trip, hoping that the change of scenery would bring about some much-needed tranquility. A week had gone by, and our trip was rapidly approaching. We packed our bags, double-checked our passports, and eagerly anticipated the adventure ahead. Now, it's worth mentioning that regarding the passports, I also had a gut feeling that something awful was going to happen. Because later on that evening, Isabella called. Harper wasn't in the room at that time, so I answered the phone for her. "Hey love, make sure that your passports are left on the table tomorrow." "Oh, hey," Harper stepped out for a moment. "What's up?" "Liam, I was expecting Harper." "Well, anyway, I just wanted to remind you both to leave your passports on the table so that we don't forget them." "Why?" "The trip isn't for another 3 days, approximately at least. Leaving them out on the table so soon can be problematic. I think it's better if we keep the passports in our bags for now." Harper enters the room, sensing tension in the conversation. "What's going on, Liam?" "It was your mother calling, and I just thought I should answer. Isabella was reminding us to leave the passports out, but I suggested keeping them in our bags instead. Leaving them out on the table might not be the safest idea. We could accidentally knock them over or forget them altogether." "Yeah, that sounds like a better plan, Liam. We don't want to risk losing them or causing unnecessary trouble." Isabella, clearly frustrated by our responses, finally said this. "Fine, I need the passports out, especially your passport, Liam. You're so useless. I'm sure you'll forget it if it's not right in front of you." "Why did you need my passport specifically, and why would you say that?" "Well, it's because you're always so absent-minded and irresponsible. I can't trust you to remember anything important, so it's better if you just leave them out." "Isabella, that's not fair. I've been responsible and capable of taking care of my things." "Okay, let's take a step back. We all want this trip to go smoothly, and we don't need any unnecessary arguments. Mom, we appreciate your concern, but I agree with Liam that it's safer to keep the passports in our bags for now. If you don't leave your passports out tomorrow, then I'm not going on this trip." Both Harper and I shared a look of bewilderment. How could she resort to something so unnecessarily stupid? I was done with the conversation, and I wasn't about to enable Isabella by nagging her and forcing her to come. Harper, being the sweeter one between us, decided to do exactly that. The call ended with Harper agreeing to leave out the passports as instructed, and I was upset that Harper complied so easily. "You know, the reason why she's always getting angry over stupid things is because she knows that you'll always take her side." "That's not true, Liam. I don't always take her side. I just try to avoid unnecessary conflicts with her. You know how she can be." "But Harper, it's like she's controlling everything. She manipulates situations and expects us to bend to her will. We can't keep letting her dictate our lives." It's not that simple, Liam. Confronting my mother is extremely difficult for me. She's been like this all her life, and I've learned to navigate around her outbursts. It's easier to comply than to challenge her. I understand, Harper. I'm sorry for everything you have to go through. But there needs to be a point where enough is enough. We can't keep sacrificing our happiness for her satisfaction. I just want to have a good time on this vacation. I don't want tension or arguments ruining it. For now, let's just do as she says and hope for the best. We can deal with the consequences later. Fine, Harper. If that's what you want, then I'll go along with it. But I hope you realize that we can't keep enabling her behavior forever. Harper and I argued back and forth about this. It was hard to admit at the time, but this strenuous relationship I had with my mother-in-law was seriously killing my relationship with Harper. It was annoying to constantly bicker about her mother. Instead of arguing about normal marriage things like finances, forgetting to take out the trash, or not doing laundry, we would argue about Isabella, and it was getting out of hand at this point. We were arguing about this well into the morning. Maybe we should just cancel the trip, Harper. It doesn't seem like Isabella wants us to have a good time. Liam, the trip is in just 2 days. We planned this for a long time, and I won't let her ruin it for us. We're going on that vacation, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. We both shared a moment of understanding, acknowledging the difficult position we were in. Even though I was reluctant, I agreed to comply with Isabella's demands for the sake of a peaceful vacation. Deep down, I knew that this temporary concession was not a long-term solution, but I hoped that the trip will provide an opportunity for us to properly reconnect and find strength together, as was the original intention of the trip. The next day arrived, and I was going about my day at work, trying to focus on my tasks and push aside the tension caused by Isabella's constant presence in our lives. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until I received a FaceTime request from her. I hesitated for a moment, contemplating whether to answer or not, but curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to see what she wanted. As I answered the call, my heart skipped a beat when I saw Isabella's face twisted into a malicious expression I had never witnessed before. It sent a chill down my spine, and I couldn't help but brace myself for whatever was about to unfold. Well, if it isn't Liam. I'm actually surprised that you answered my call. Honestly, I could say the same. What do you want, Isabella? Oh, nothing much. Just thought I'd share some of my thoughts with you. I'm listening. I hate you, Liam. I've always hated you. You're a worthless excuse for a man, and I can't stand to see you succeed. This isn't news, Isabella, but one thing I want to know is why. What did I ever do to you? I can't bear the thought of you being happy with her. You two, always laughing and enjoying yourselves. What is there to enjoy? You don't want to see your own daughter happy? What a pathetic excuse for a mother. Me, pathetic? I'm just trying to protect my daughter. You make her believe that there aren't any problems in this world. She's too jovial and naive. You're making her dumb and clueless, just like you. That literally doesn't make any sense, Isabella. You've always tried to undermine me with the way that you speak to me. Anyone can see that you're obviously obsessed with me. Isabella's face turned from malice to embarrassment. It was like I caught her in something. She wasn't expecting me to say that, and she subsequently blushed at my words. Wait. You're not obsessed with me, are you? Well, I don't know what you mean. What are you trying to say? Oh my God, Isabella. Do you have feelings for me? What? Are you crazy? That's crazy. Why would I have feelings for you? You of all people. Don't be ridiculous. I don't even think about you. Well then, why are you so obsessed with grinding me down? It's like you're a little schoolgirl and you have a crush on me. You remember how it was back then. If someone used to like you, they'd treat you like crap. This honestly has the same vibes. If I'm lying, then tell me, because I just don't understand why you hate me so much. Well, you see, the thing is. That's disgusting, Isabella. How could you have feelings for your sister-in-law? Well, what I was going to say before you cut me off is that I don't have feelings for you. So you can just shut up. Then why can't you stand the thought of Harper and I being together? Why don't you want us to be happy? Just shut up. Don't speak. I came here to do one thing, and after your preposterous allegations, I'm going to go ahead and do it with extra pride. As Isabella was speaking, I noticed her bringing up a passport to the camera's view. I was surprised to see the flickering flame of a lighter in her other hand. She sensed my confusion and began to smile that devilish smile she donned at the beginning of the call. And then she set the passport on fire. She began to laugh, but I didn't say anything. I just looked at her sternly with disgust and disappointment. She reveled in her malicious laughter, relishing in the destruction she had caused. You see, Liam, I hate you so much that I was willing to burn your passport into ashes. You will not go on this trip. You should just think of divorcing my daughter and moving to find someone else. What? Someone like you? I never said I don't like you, damn it. I'm certainly not obsessed with you. You're just delusional. Right. Well, okay. Why aren't you enraged right now? Didn't you see what I just did? I just burnt your passport, you fool. Yes, I did see what you did. But you got one thing wrong, though. That's not my passport. What? As she was exclaiming in shock and disbelief, I pulled out my passport from my laptop bag and showed her that I had it in my possession. Yep, got my passport right here. It turns out that when you tell people that they're useless and that they always forget things, they begin to be a bit more conscientious of their belongings. I thought it best to keep my passport with me because I could tell that you were up to something. But I told you to keep your passports out. That's why I'm at your place. Well, I'm sorry that I didn't fall for your vindictive plan, Isabella. I mean, what is wrong with you? Why would you even do something like that? Then? Then whose passport did I burn? There's Isabella's here. Yours was meant to be here. Well, it's funny you ask that because if you recall, you left your passport here 2 weeks ago when you got back from Canada. I'm guessing that you thought you had it in your possession all this time. I laughed as I watched Isabella's face twist from anger to shock and then to embarrassment as she slowly realized that the passport that she burnt was her own. You made me do this. Sweetie, I didn't make you do anything. You're the one who wanted the passports to be out. I took out all three and left them on the table in the foyer just like you asked. But I knew that you had to be up to something, so I decided to keep mine with me. Honestly, you should blame yourself. Why didn't you open the passport and check the names? I did. I checked the first passport and it was Harper's. Then I didn't think that I needed to check the second one since I thought it was yours and I had forgotten that I left my passport at your house. Isabella began to whine about how all of this wasn't fair, but just like in the movies, she was yet another stupid villain with a stupid plan that went all wrong. She was hoisted by her own petard, as all the fancy people say, and I was enjoying the show. As she continued to cry and shout at me, I said, "You underestimated me, Isabella. I won't let you ruin my life or my relationship with Harper. Your reign of terror ends here. You think you've won? This is far from over, Liam. I will find a way to tear you two apart. Well, good luck with that. It seems that while you're continuing to concoct your evil plan, my wife and I will be enjoying a well-deserved vacation. We're gonna have a blast. You won't have fun. Why do you two get to have fun? It's not fair. This wasn't supposed to happen." I continued to laugh at her in her silly state of confusion and anguish, and I eventually cut the call because I was tired of the drama and I was sufficiently satisfied with how things turned out since she was the one who brought herself to her own demise. I could tell that even after the call had ended, she was furious with herself for being so foolish. I went to the security guy at my job and asked him if he could give me the camera and audio footage of my office from the past hour even though it was against company policy. He hesitated, but after briefly explaining the situation and upon reviewing what was recorded in my office himself, he gave me the footage as a favor. I'm guessing he understood that this was too important and that the truth had to be revealed. With the physical evidence of Isabella's deceit in hand, I went home and revealed everything to my wife, and by the end of everything, she was trembling with rage. Is this a bad time to say I told you that your mom was crazy? Don't test me, Liam. I'm beyond pissed. Does she really have some sort of crush on you? That's horrible. I genuinely believe so. I mean, why else would she act that way? That's why she's been so evil to me. I'm guessing she was trying to suppress her feelings, and her burning my passport would mean that I wouldn't go on the trip and she wouldn't have to witness us being so lovey-dovey to each other. Oh my God, I don't even know what to say at this point. And the fact that I let her in today, none the wiser. She must have called you and burnt the passport while I was out getting her medication so that I wouldn't suspect anything. Well, her plan almost worked. Had she just paid better attention to what she was doing? Both Harper and I laughed bitterly at the drama that was before us. Harper called her mother and with some very colorful language, berated her for her stupidity. Isabella tried to deny everything, which made Harper more enraged as she revealed the footage that I had gotten from work. Isabella, for the millionth time that day, was too stunned and embarrassed to articulate a coherent response, signifying that she had, yet again, been caught in a lie. They went back and forth with Isabella trying to lie and Harper berating her each time and presenting her with her inconsistencies. Harper ended the call with her mother very bitterly, vowing not to speak to her ever again. Harper and I went on vacation. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the greatest experience considering just 2 days prior we got some really shocking and disturbing news. My wife, unfortunately, felt like an idiot for not seeing through her mother all this time. But I tried my best to make my wife laugh by reminding her that her mother was the stupid one for burning her own passport. Although the vacation trip wasn't a 10 out of 10, it wasn't a waste because we did genuinely enjoy ourselves. I distanced myself from Isabella, considering her weird feelings about me, and Harper wasn't answering any calls, texts or emails from her, staying true to her promise to never speak to her again. Isabella then tried to get other family members involved in this by saying we're bad kids for not listening to her and what she has to say. She's just lucky that we haven't released the footage to the other family members just yet. So for now, it's her word against ours. But Harper and I are seriously considering showing the other family members the information we uncovered. What do you guys think? Should we keep this matter private or should we expose Isabella to everyone? If this story touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with others who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new story. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a story that highlights the struggles of parenting and the fine line between fairness and discipline. Imagine being caught in the middle of a sibling rivalry where one child's desire for equality turns into threats and chaos. This is a gripping tale of a mother who faced a tough decision when her daughter threatened to destroy her brother's belongings if he didn't share. Let's unravel this nerve-wracking story titled, "My daughter threatened to destroy my son's belongings if he didn't share, so I grounded her. Am I the bad parent?" Let's get started. We recently got 2 horses. My younger daughter, a young teen, wanted them, as she's been learning to ride. My older daughter, nearly adult, was against them. She's much more apprentice-y and didn't want to deal with the mess and chores that come with horses. But we told her it wouldn't be something she'd have to deal with, and that her younger sister promised to take care of all of it. Well, recently, the older daughter's been disrespectful at home and staying out too late, and her grades have been slipping. We warned her to shape up, but last week when we heard that she'd been needlessly insulting her younger sister while I was out running errands, I told her that she'd be cleaning out the stable each day for the next week, as punishment, and that her sister would get a break. She got upset and offended and said we promised she'd never have to go in there or scoop horse poop. I said I promised it wouldn't be one of your chores, of course. But obviously, punishment is supposed to be something outside of your normal chores and something you won't like, and I thought it was perfectly fair here. She's been doing it for 3 days now, but seems very resentful of our broken promise, acting very disgusted, and keeps begging to get out of the rest of it. But I said I thought it was fair, and she was overreacting. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You bought 2 horses for your younger daughter and promised the older daughter she wouldn't have to be involved in their care. You broke your promises. There were plenty of adequate and appropriate punishments available you could have given your daughter for staying out late and letting her grades slip. Are you deliberately trying to stir up resentment between the 2 sisters? Because this is how you get resentment between 2 sisters. Exactly. Horses are a pretty big gift. Does your oldest child get the same treatment as your youngest child? It could be resentment building up and causing her to act out, and being forced to take care of her sister's huge gift will only worsen the resentment. I was wondering the same. Horses are a huge gift. After the purchase price, there's still upkeep, vet bills, farriers, tech, and food, and not just 1 horse, but 2. My child used to ride, and even leasing a horse cost a small fortune, but buying 2? OP, have you given the older daughter a comparable gift? This whole story reeks of favoritism. I bet money the older one hasn't gotten anything but increased chores, so the precious perfect golden child doesn't have a thing to do. And I need more information about who said she's been needlessly insulting to her younger sister. Was it the younger sister tattling? And what is needlessly insulting? Is there such a thing as needfully insulting? And isn't that part of sibling squabbles, being needlessly insulting? And I'm sorry should suffice for that indiscretion, in my honest opinion. Your oldest daughter isn't the golden child, obviously, so you want her to be Cinderella. I, 28 male, have this friend, Charlotte, 29 female. Charlotte and I go way back. We were at a bar one night, and we just happened to get into a small argument about something personal. So, we spent a few minutes just bitterly drinking, and not talking to each other, when this weird guy walked up between us, and started saying awful things to her. Charlotte kept glancing at me, and by the expression on her face, I could tell that she was completely frozen, and wanted me to help her out. However, I was still bitter about our little disagreement, so I turned away from her, pulled out my phone, and surfed the web. That guy talked to Charlotte for about 5 minutes, and said the weirdest stuff. I couldn't help but glance back at Charlotte, and it looked like she was almost about to burst into tears. I decided that enough was enough, and I told the guy to take a hike. We got into a verbal fight, but the guy eventually left. Once we were sure that the guy had left for good, and he wasn't just standing around waiting outside, I walked Charlotte back home. She just said passive-aggressive stuff like, "I hope you enjoyed yourself, and it's a good thing you took your sweet time." When we returned to her apartment, she was still angry at me. Am I the idiot? Oh God, you are the idiot. You held so much power in this situation, and you decided to use it to let your friend remain terrified. You intentionally used this to hurt her, not just petty normal fighting, but to allow someone else to abuse her actively. This could have put her in danger, and she knew that. She knew that you were okay with her being verbally abused while you actively decided not to help. Yeah, you are the idiot. I cannot say enough times, you are the idiot. When a woman gives you the pleading, get me out of here stare, you do it, period, no matter how upset you are with her at the moment. The instant a creep harasses her, and she signals you, you help. Heck, even if you don't know her, and she's being clearly harassed, step in. This is how bad things happen, because no one steps in. The actual heck, dude, did you really need the whole internet to tell you you're the idiot here? You're her friend, and you just watched that happen, and listened? I doubt you're friends much longer. I hope your mild argument with Charlotte was worth losing a friendship over. You broke so many friend codes by doing that. Who needs enemies with a friend like you? My daughter, kindergartner, has some severe food intolerances. Eating the wrong thing frequently ends in a hospital visit. She has snack time at school, where the kids bring in their own snacks. I found a really fun snack for her online that she can actually eat, and I've been sending that in with her for months. On Tuesday, when I opened her bag, I found that the snack was there untouched, so I asked her why. She told me it was too tough for her to open. I asked her about the previous weeks, and she told me that her teacher used to help her, but doesn't anymore. I encouraged her to ask her teacher the next day. The next day, the snack was still unopened, and when I asked her about it, she told me that the teacher told her she needed to learn to open her snacks at snack time all by herself. So, I sent the teacher an email explaining that the snack is quite tough to open, even for adults sometimes, and that it would be super helpful if she could help my daughter open her snack when she's unable to do so. Otherwise, she has an 8-hour school day with only her lunchtime to eat. I was nice about it, but you better believe it did make me a bit angry that she'd rather let a kid go without a snack while all the other kids ate one than help a young child open a snack. I picked her up on Thursday, and she still had an unopened snack. At this point, I called the teacher to ask what was going on, and she said that their goal for the last few months of kindergarten was to promote independence, and that she couldn't do that if they had to hold the kid's hand at every turn. She said it might help if I sent my kid in with a normal snack instead of such a bizarre, difficult to open one. She's very aware of my daughter's food intolerances. At this point, I politely thanked her and called the principal, asking him to move my daughter to a different classroom. I said that it was very inappropriate to emphasize that my daughter's snacks weren't normal enough, given that she could not live a normal life. I wish I could give her some Cheetos or a pack of cookies like the other kids get, but I can't, and I just wanted my daughter to have something a little bit more fun when all the other kids were eating those things. She moved rooms, but her previous teacher sent me a message about how I've really made things difficult over a snack. Apparently, they've started an investigation and are monitoring how she interacts with the kids. Two of the moms that she knows better than me commented in the moms group chat that the way the teacher was treated in regards to this is completely unfair, and that a child's food issue shouldn't be their teacher's issue to deal with. So, am I the idiot? Should I just send in a different snack? Edit. I asked a couple of times why I can't open the snack before school. For some reason, the school policy is that the snack has to be a single-serve item in a sealed package and not in a Tupperware container, and it won't allow repackaging. Also, kindergartners are not allowed to carry scissors, no exceptions. Not the idiot. If they're making requirements of how a snack is packaged, then they're responsible for ensuring said packaging is open for the child if the child has difficulties opening it, regardless of food intolerances or allergies. This has nothing to do with teaching kids independence. Yeah, I don't think letting a kid miss out on the snack time that everyone else gets when her mother gets her a snack that agrees with the school policy teaches anything other than discouraging her from asking for help in the future. This teacher sounds lazy or entitled. I can't believe some parents are taking her side. Also, for the teacher to contact you afterward and complain about your concerns was really unprofessional. I teach high school students who need help with opening stuff sometimes or fixing things, and sometimes I ask them for help too. While I understand the need for teaching independence, I feel like this was a weird hill to die on due to dietary restrictions. Also, I hope you've screenshotted the conversation of the mothers moaning and shared that with the principal, as that shows the teacher's been gossiping. A coworker started to develop feelings a month into knowing me. Let's call him Gray. It may not be something too deep, so I was flattered. I told him I wasn't interested since I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship. A month after this rejection, Gray asked me to be his girlfriend. Again, I rejected it. He said it was cool, but he'd appreciate it if I didn't cut him off. I didn't, as he was a nice friend to have. I had to reiterate to him more than once after this that there was no chance I was reciprocating the feelings at all. One day, one of my closer coworkers let me know that Gray would ask her what my plans for the day were, and if I had any, he'd ask her where I'd be going and who I'd be with. He'd also ask her if I was hanging around any other male coworkers. One time when we were out to lunch with our team, our boss gave us the rest of the day off. That meant we'd be free to go home or hang out after lunch. I told everyone I'd be off home, as I was too tired. He offered to bring me home, and I declined. He snapped and started almost begging me to bring me home, but I just kept declining. He said then, "Fine, let me book you a taxi," and proceeded to type my address correctly when I knew for a fact that I never gave him my address. I was majorly uncomfortable at this point. He's done weirder things over the past year, stalking my family on social media, memorizing usernames of my closer friends on IG. He even found an old account I wasn't using anymore, shipping products he bought online directly to my address, even getting in a taxi and following me home. When I confronted him about it, he said he was just ensuring I was safe. Last week, while preparing to go home, it started to rain, so he insisted on bringing me home on his motorcycle. He followed me around the office saying, "Please let me bring you home." We were around other coworkers, but I snapped at him and told him to screw off and leave me alone in a relatively high voice. A coworker who was aware of the stories I told above overheard and told me I didn't have to react that way. I talked to a non-coworker friend about it, and he told me that this might be Gray's way of winning me over. Now I'm worried that I'm just viewing him as annoying and stalkerish because I didn't reciprocate the feelings and went off on him when he was being kind. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'd say report him to HR. Stay away from him. He thinks he's Superman. See what he has on? That's not a cape. That's a frigging red flag. Also, screw that idiot coworker who told you not to react that way. They obviously don't understand or care about your situation if they know the stories and expect you to always be calm. Majorly angry at that scene extra. Anyways, report him. Tell your family about him so that they can be aware and beware of him and his presence. Get a dog if you don't have one. Keep some self-defense stuff. This could escalate as time goes by. Do not give him a chance. This. OP, you're being stalked. Go to HR. Let them know you only want him to talk to you about work. He's not to offer you a ride home. If you see him follow you home or near your house, you will get a restraining order. Tell them if the company can't handle him, you're going to the police. And before you go to HR, I would write down everything that's happened, even if you don't remember the dates. Then I'd make a copy for them and for you. The most concerning part of this story is that he knows your address, but you never told him. Following you home is unacceptable and grounds for a restraining order in some jurisdictions. I'm sure he thinks he's winning you over, but that doesn't make it okay. This is way over the line, not just some awkward workplace flirting. Oh, I doubt he thinks he's winning her over. At this point, it's just pressure to get her to break and to give in while making that effort to be seen as having good intentions. The scene with the taxi was a power move. I know where you live and I need to illustrate that you don't get your own choice here. Either way, I know you're home. OP, you're in a very dangerous situation. You need to make HR aware and start documenting these instances so you have evidence to take to the police. This is going to get much, much worse before it gets better. Update. I've told my coworker, the one he asked about my plans, if she would support me in bringing this to HR. But it turns out she's already kind of tipped them off at his behavior. By this, I mean she's mentioned it vaguely to a friend from HR because she didn't want to get ahead of me. And HR said that the complaint had to come from me for them to be able to do something about it. So she would be supporting me in filing a complaint. Thank you all for your concern and for pulling me out of downplaying the situation. My son, Henry, divorced his wife, Rachel, a year ago. Their divorce wasn't exactly messy, but it wasn't easy either. I stay in contact with Rachel for my granddaughter's sake. My granddaughter's a preteen and Rachel also has another daughter, Amy, 3 years older than my granddaughter, who's not my son's child. She was from a past relationship Rachel had. Now, the thing is, Amy grew up calling me grandma for pretty much her whole life. I treated her exactly the same as I did my biological granddaughter. I'd always take candy for both of them, give them both a little bit of pocket money and hugs and love, and still do love Amy as much as I do my granddaughter. As far as I'm aware, she's my second granddaughter. When my son and his wife divorced, I stayed in contact with his now ex-wife to contact my granddaughter, and Amy has her own mobile phone. I also have her phone number and stay in contact with her occasionally. She still calls me grandma as well. I didn't think this would be a problem. However, last week when it was Amy's birthday, I gave Rachel some money to buy her a present for me. She was thankful, bought her a gift, wrapped it, and sent me a picture of her opening it. Later that day, my son came around to visit me, and my phone rang. Amy called to say thank you for your birthday present. My son told me he found it inappropriate for me to talk to his ex-wife and her daughter when she was not my granddaughter. He said I have absolutely no reason to be in contact with either of them, as I see my biological granddaughter regularly, and that she's the only whose family. So, his ex-wife and Amy, who are no longer family, have no reason for me to be in contact with them. I disagree, as I only speak to Rachel about my granddaughter, and I speak to Amy as, for the last 10 years, I've been treating her exactly the same as my biological granddaughter. It would be unfair now to no longer have contact with her, after so long. Am I the idiot for staying in contact with them both? I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. I never discuss my son with either of them. I simply check in and see how they are. Not the idiot. He's been in this girl's life for 10 years, and he's not staying in touch, and doesn't seem to care or worry about her. That should be the issue here. Be careful he doesn't decide to not let you see your other granddaughter, just because he doesn't agree with you. Your son is a major idiot though. Amy's been a significant part of your lives for 10 years, and your son is upset that you still talk to her, and treat her with kindness, instead of dropping her out of your life entirely, as though she doesn't matter at all. Is he demanding you do that to a literal child? No wonder his wife divorced him. What a selfish, spiteful idiot. Agree. That's a lot of time to form a bond beyond a casual relationship. Your son is selfish, thinking his anger towards his ex is more important than your love for the children. He cannot tell you to change your priorities. I understand that your son is hurting, but you're only demonstrating love for the kids. Once again, the father's in the movie Clueless. You divorce wives, not children. Grandma gets it, but dad does not. Grandma, carry on. Family's not necessarily defined by blood. If you and Amy believe your grandma and granddaughter, then you are. Don't let anyone say otherwise. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. If this story resonated with you or sparked any thoughts, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking stories and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you have a story of your own that you'd like to share, drop it in the comments or send it to us. We'd love to feature it in a future video. Thanks for watching.